Welcome to another video. So in this one we are going to do an activity which is related to JSP. So in this activity, so we are going to use the same application which we used in our previous activity. So in that one also we have used a template, and then we have implemented an application. So in this case you can see that we are having a template here, and then we are going to implement some task by using this template. So here also you need to follow the double OP concepts when implementing this application. So let's see what are the things we need to do here. So first we need to download this template. So this template will be available on the VLE. So you can download Activity11 template, and after that you can import that template into your uh, NetBeans environment. So first we will import this template. So this template name is Activity11 template. You can download it from the VLE resources folder. Okay, so this is the Activity11 template. Okay, you can see that we are having this index.jsp page, signup.jsp page, and also we are having several images here, and also you can see that we are having a folder called user. Under that also we are having index.jsp page. So first we will run this template and we will see whether it's working. Okay, so this is the template. We have used this template in previous activity as well. So you can see this is the sign up page and sign in page. So once you click on the sign up, so you will move to the sign up. Okay, so then the template is working, so we will start our activity now. So as the first thing, so we need to create some double OP concepts here. So we need to add some double OP concepts into this project. So here we are going to register user, and we are having a sign up page, and we are going to do some work with these books which are there in this application. So this is the application that we have used with our lesson 2 as well. So therefore you are familiar with this activity. So first so we will see what are the classes that we need to create here. So in this activity, so we are having two classes. One is user class. So under that we need to have these properties, and also we need to have these methods. And so this is the database command to create this user table, and also we have in book table, and book table need to have some values, so we can use these commands to add those values. And this is the book table. So in book table also you can see that we are having set of properties, and also we are having a set of methods. So now first we will create these classes and this database, and after that we will see how we are going to use this template uh, uh, to develop or implement this application. So first I will create this database. So I will copy these commands, and I'm going to create these database tables with this data. So I will go to services and databases. So here I'm going to create a database called Activity11. So I'm going to use execute command, and I'm going to paste it here, and then we will run it. Okay, everything worked well, and both tables, book table and user table, is here now. Okay, so these are the two tables. We added some information, some data to the book table. We will see whether those are there. So you can go to view data. Yes, so these are the books information. Okay, let's move to our activity now, and we need to create two classes here. So one is user class and another one is book class. Other than that, we know that we need to have DB connector class to connect our application with the database, and then we need to have MD5 hashing, because here also we are going to use a password to encrypt the password. We are using MD5 class, so we need to add that as well. So let's add those things first. So I will go to this source packages. Under that, I'm going to create a package called classes, and I need four classes here. First one is user class. Next one is book class. Other one is DB connector class, and we need to have MD5 class. Okay, first we will start from this book class. Okay, so what is there in book class? So we will go to our activity. So this is the book class. So we need to have 5 properties, private properties, and we need to have these methods. So let's implement these things. So we need to have 5 properties. So we have name, author, price, quantity is int. Okay, so these are the properties. Now the methods. So we have a constructor here. So we are going to override this constructor by using some information: string, barcode, string author, string author, double price, int quantity. Okay, we missed one thing. Barcode is there, author is there, price is there, quantity is there, and okay, we missed name. So I think in this class diagram, no, the name is there. Okay, now we need to assign these values into these properties. So we can get this first one, barcode equal to barcode, and name author and price quantity. Okay, so this will be my first method. So we are going to override our constructor here. Then the next method, get barcode and set barcode. So getters and setters. Okay, get barcode. So we are going to return barcode here. So we can set barcode, and in this case we need to pass a barcode, so it will be a string. So like this we will have getters and setters in this one for name, author, price, quantity. So we will quickly add those things: name, author, price, quantity. Okay, so we will change these names. So this will get name, and this will be name then, and this will set name, and here also it should be name, and then okay, then other one is author. Get author and set author. Then this will be get quantity. So it should be double. First one, this should be price, double. Price should be double, and set price, and this should be again a double value. So the another one is quantity. This should be int. Okay, so these are the getters and setters. So other than that, we are having quantity, set quantity, get quantity, so that is okay. And then we are having increase quantity, decrease quantity, update book details, and display book details. So we will add that method as well. So increase quantity. So the return type is void in these cases. Public void increase quantity, and again here int quantity. So this case increase quantity means so we need to increase this quantity with quantity. So again we need to have decrease quantity as well. So this should be decrease decrease quantity. In this case we need to use minus operator here, decrease quantity. And then we are having update book details. So this should be passing a boolean value, whether this update book details. So since we need to pass something, so we will pass through here. Update book details, getting some parameters: the name, author, price, quantity, and the connection. And also we need to pass this barcode as well. I think I didn't add that one here, but we need to pass barcode as well when you are updating the book, because that is the key that we are going to use to select which book we are going to update. So therefore we need to pass that as well. So I will use these set of parameters, because we need to pass these set of parameters. And additionally we need to pass but in this case I think we don't need to use we don't need to pass these things into update book details, because we can create an object, and then we can use this object and we can call this method. So therefore we don't need to pass all this information which is mentioned here. So this is a mistake. So I can we can remove this one, but we need to pass this connection from the outside. So we will pass only this connection. So the database connection, so we need to pass from the outside. So we need to import this connection, java.sql connection, and we are going to pass this connection from the outside, call conf. That's all, because we can use other information. So we can create because we are having a constructor here, so we can create an object with this information, and then that object can be used with this method. So then we don't need to pass those things again. And the same, again we are having another one, display book details. Display book details, and here also we are passing connection, and for now we will use return true here. No, in this one it should return a list, okay, not boolean value. So that means display book details means it's going to display the books. So since that is related to the class, because display book details means it's not a specific book detail, so we are going to display all the book details in this case. So then I can make it as static, because it's belongs to the class, because it's not belongs to objects, that mean for specific books. So it's talking about all the books which are there in this database table. So therefore I can make it as static and not boolean here. So we need to use a list. So we are going to we are going to send a book list here. So we can add java util list, and we are going to create a list here. So that will be a book list. So we will make this as so we will name this as book list equal new array list. So then we can return this book list. so we will implement this part because this will so we require this method, because in our activity you can see that here we are going to display the books. So the user's home page should display the available books in the Samadhi bookstore. So that means we need to display the list of books which are there in our Samadhi bookstore. So therefore we need to implement this method, but I'm not going to implement this update book details method for now, because that is not with this that is not there with this activity. You can see that the only thing that we are going to do with the book class is to get the information about the book. So that means we need to have this method, the body of this method for now. So I'm going to implement the body of this method. So here so we have created a list. Now we need to connect with the database, and we need to get the available list here. So then so I will use try catch block here, and any errors, so I'm going to use okay, so without using try catch, so we can use throw exceptions one here. So first I need to connect with the database, so therefore I'm going to create a connection. Before that, it's good to import java.sql. So here we import only connection, so we will make it asterisk. So then we are going to import java.sql all the libraries. So now we can create a connection here. We don't need to create the connection. The connection is passing from the outside here. So in this case, so we are passing the connection outside, so therefore we don't need to create a connection. So now first then we will have a query. In this case this will be a select query, select all from book. Okay, so this is the query, very simple query. And then we will have a prepared statement here, prepared statement called pstmt equal con dot prepare statement, and we are going to pass the query, and we created this statement. In this query we don't have any placeholders, so therefore we don't need to pass any parameters. So now in this case we are getting some exceptions, so we can use this throw clause to throw these exceptions here, SQL exceptions. So now we have the prepared statement. So now we are going to execute this one. So once we execute, so we are getting a result set. Execute query, and we are getting the result set. So after that we need to go in this result set. So I will use a while loop, because we are having several books here, because we are going to call books without having any specific record. So that means it will return all the books here. So while rs dot next, so that means until we are having records in this result set, so we are going to iterate through the result set. So then we are going to get we are going to get the barcode rs dot get string barcode. So likewise we are going to get name author, and name author, price, quantity. Okay, so this will be name, this will be author, and this will be price. So the price is a double, price is a double. So now in this case we cannot have string values here, so we need to convert this value into a double. So we can use so pass double method, and we can convert this into double, and then this one is quantity. So this is an int. Again we need to use integer class, and we need to pass it. Pass int. Okay, like this we can get this information from the database. So after that we are going to create an object here. So we are going to create book object, new book, by passing this barcode, name, author, price and quantity. Okay, so now this book will be added to our list. So we are having a book list here, so we are going to add this book into this book list. So now once we are iterating through this result set, first we are going to create a book item, and we are going to add this book item into this list. So then this list will return once we request book details from this class. So then we are getting a list. Okay, so that's about the book class. After that we will go to our next class, so that is the user class. So what are the things that we need to add into the user class? So here you can see this is the user class. We are having 5 properties, 1 2 3 4 5 6 properties. Okay, so we will first add these properties: private and int id, private string first name, and last name, username, password, role, all are string. So this will be last name, so this will be username, this will be password, and this will be the role. Okay, so let's see what are the methods we need to have. So we need to have 2 constructors here, so we will create those 2 constructors. The first constructor is getting only 2 parameters, username and password. String username, string password. In this case we need to assign username here to username, password to password. So like this we need to have another constructor. So in this case we are passing first name, last name, username, password, role, all things. String first name, string last name, string username, string password, string role. So we are passing these values here. Now we need to assign this value. This dot first name equal first name, and last name equal last name, and other one is username equal username, password equal password, and role equal to role. Okay, 2 constructors. So after that we have in set id, get first name, get last name, get role. So those are the methods. First we need to have public void set id. So here id is an int, so we are sending int, and this dot id equal id, So then we need to have a getter as well, public get id. So this is void, so no, this would be int. We are going to send the id, so this will be return id. Okay, so other than that, get first name, get last name, get role, so these are also there. So public string get first name, so we are going to return first name in this case. So we can have same kind of method to get last name. So in this case we are going to return last name, and then get role, so we are going to return role. Okay, other than that, so we have three functions, three methods here: register, authenticate, and update. So in this activity we need to register and authenticate, but we don't need update one, so therefore I'm not going to implement the body of the update method, but we need to implement the body of this register method and authenticate method. So we will so quickly develop those methods as well. So in this case public, so it's going to send a boolean value whether this registration is success or not. So that is what we are going to send from this method, so therefore it will be a boolean, and the name is register, and so for now we will put return value as true. So later we will assign a value here, and register the connection, call con, we are going to get it from the outside. So now in this case also we need to import this java.sql.asterisk. We can import all the libraries here. Okay, now this is registration, so we will have the query first. So here the query is insert query, so we are going to insert data to the user table. So this one, insert into user, and here first name, last name, username, password, and role. So these are the information we are going to insert: first name, last okay, so this n should be capital, because here you can see this n is capital, here also n is capital, and username, password is okay, role is okay. Then values, so we are going to use placeholders 5, 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so this is our query. So now we are going to have prepared statement here: pstmt equal con dot prepare statement. Okay, so now we need to set these values: pstmt dot set string, and the first one is first name. Okay, there are some exceptions, so we need to throw these exceptions, so we will use the first option here. So like this we are going to set 5 values. The second one is last name, and third one is username, fourth one is password, and the fifth one is role. Okay, so after setting these values, so now we can use pstmt dot execute update method to run this query. So then based on this value, so we can pass whether this is true or false, whether a is greater than 0. If a is greater than 0, so we are going to pass true here, otherwise we are going to pass false. So this is the implementation of the register. Now the next one is we need to implement authenticate method. So we will use the same approach here. So I'm going to copy this method here because it's also passing a boolean value, and we are going to change this value as authenticate. And we are getting connection, and this case the query is not like this, it's not insert, so we need to have a select query here. So therefore I'm going to remove this query, and also we don't need this much of parameters in this one, so I'm going to remove these parameters as well. Okay, and here so I'm going to remove this part as well. Okay, for now we will make this true. Okay, the query is select query, select, so we are going to select all from user where username equal to some value. So now we are going to create the query, and we need to pass the username here, username as the parameter. Okay, so now we are going to use a result set object because this is a select query. So now we are going to execute this pstmt dot execute query. So we will get a result, and if rs dot next, if you are having any results. Okay, so in this case, if the username is correct, we will have some results, else we don't have results. So then we are going to return false. If this username is incorrect, the return type will be false. If this is true, so we are going to return true if this user is correct. Now we are going to get the information related to this password, db database password. So we can use rs.get string, and we can pass the value as password. So now we are going to check whether this user entered password and the database password is correct. So if password, so this is the user entered password, equals to db password, so whether these two are equal, so we are going to check that one here. So if the password is equal to the database password, or if this is true, so then we are going to pass true. That means now the user's username and also password is correct. But else, so that means if this password is incorrect, then the username is correct but the password is incorrect, so we are going to pass false here. Okay, like this. But now in this case, so we need to do some additional thing here. So not only passing true here, so if this user's information is correct, user entered the correct username and password, so we are going to construct this user here. So that means we have only the username and password in the authentication one, but we can add the other information to this user object because we are going to select this user from the database. So let's fill the other information of this user. So we can get the ID of this user. So it's ID of this user. So in this case we need to convert this in as an integer. So we are going to get string method, get string method, and we are going to get the ID here, and we can get the first name, get string first name. So we can get last name, role. Last name and role. So this should be last name then, and this should be role. So once we get this, once we got this information, so now we can set these values, to this user. So we can set these values, but we don't have setter methods here. So first we need to create these setter methods. So I think I didn't add those things into the class, but we can create these setter methods here. First set first name, and we are going to pass first name here. So then this first name equal first name, and here set last name, so this should be void. Then we are going to pass last name here. So then this dot last name equal last name, and here also set role. So we are passing role here, and this dot role equal to role. Okay, now we can so since we are having setters here, so we can set these values into our object. Okay, so since we are inside this object, so we don't need these setters, so we can directly assign these values. So I will remove these things. So that is why I didn't add those things, I think. So we don't need this setter method, so that is it's not required here. Okay, so I think we can stick with these methods. So we don't need setters here, so we can directly assign these values into this object. So without creating these things again, directly we can assign into this global object. That means this into global variables, so then those will be there with the objects. Okay, the properties. So like this we can add these values. So now the username and password is already there, and other than that we can add ID, first name, last name and role into this object like this. So now once we are returning true from this method, it will actually completed this object as well. So then we can use this object information in any place. Okay, so that is the user one. I'm not going to create the other method, so that is update, but I will add that method here, public boolean update, and I will add return true, but I'm not going to implement the body of this one. So this is also getting the connection from the outside. Okay, so that will be like this. So now we completed this user class as well. So we don't need getters, we don't need setters here, because I mistakenly added it, but after that I also realized that we can directly assign, we don't need setters here because we are inside the class, not outside the class. So therefore we can access these properties, because these private properties we cannot access from the outside the class, but still we are in the inside the class because we are in this method. So therefore we can directly access these properties. We don't need to have setters here. So therefore we don't need that setters, we can directly assign the values like this. Okay, now that is complete. So after that we need to have two other classes, that is db connector. So this is you know that in this case also we need to add this java.sql1. So first we will import java.sql.asterisk. Okay, and here so we are going to have private static final. So we discussed why we are going to have this as static and final. So in this case we need to have url first, and then the db user, db password, and we need to have driver. Okay, so this will be db user, db password. So we'll have it like this, db password, and then we need to have driver. Okay, so we didn't mention the data type here, so this should be string. Okay, so driver, we know that it should be com.mysql.jdbc.driver. So we need to add the driver as well. So we will go to libraries, and we are going to add this driver. So that should be mysql jdbc driver. So then username is test user, and password is also test user, and database url. So this is my database. So this is the url. I'm going to copy this url from here and paste it, and remove the additional information which is there in this url. So I will remove this additional information. Okay, so since we have defined this variables as static, so therefore we can have public static connection is the return type, get connection method in this case. So first we are going to create, so first we need to register this driver. So therefore we can use class dot for name, and we can pass driver here, and this will throw some exceptions. So we are going to use this throw clause here, and without using specific exception time, so we can use general exception like this. So then we are going to create a connection here, con equal driver manager dot get connection. So we are passing url and db user and db password. So we are going to return this connection. Okay, so this is the db connector class. So after that we need to implement this md5 class. So this md5, so I already uploaded this class to the VLE, so we can use this class. So I'm going to use this method here, and then we need to import this java.security and java.math, and again java.security. Okay, so now we have completed all the classes that we need in this activity. So that is user class, book class, database connector, and MD5. Okay, so these are the classes, and also we created the database table as well. So now we need to start this task, so the registration. So we will see how we are going to implement this task in a separate video. So the next video, so I'm going to use to uh, use to uh, teach you so how to implement these tasks which are there in this activity. So again, so you can go through this video and you can see how we implemented these classes. So likewise, first we can have these classes, so then after that we can quickly implement the application by using these classes. So let's see the other part in the other video. Thank you.